Hello everybody and welcome back to the European Masters. We are rounding out a very long day with Macko versus MOUZ, and the winner of this will make it out of the group stages. The loser, unfortunately, will be going home. Macko now playing 4 games back to back, and three of those I think have had an Annie in them.
And
honestly, you know what? I got things wrong earlier, and that's on me.
Stop talking.
I think you can forgive me now. My brain is cooked.
Yeah, stop talking. It's been late in the night, and we have the last banger for you guys now. MOUZ versus Macko. Winner of this series goes to quarters. It's the Prime League MOUZ with leader who is so hyped up around last year, especially in this year's offseason, about to potentially be knocked out by, once again, the PG Nationals sneaking up as these underdogs. And we've talked about it so much last year with Samsung Morningstars. This year's Macko is already out. And Macko, if they could have 2 out from the PG Nationals, that's never happened before.
I was gonna say, I wonder if we see an Annie ban, and yep, there it is. They're not giving Sebekx that. It's been too impactful. It's been too problematic. Annie's taken away. Tristana's taken away. Leader's not gonna get his hands onto the Aurelia. That's gonna be a ban here. Followed up by the Lilia. But the key thing, which you haven't seen for a while, is actually the Hecarim and Udyr both being open. Curious to see if MOUZ leave one of those open. They're gonna take away the Seraphine, so I feel like Maker's probably just gonna have to ban, well, leave those junglers open and kind of take what's left over.
I think at this point in time, they already know, okay, guys, we have secured the Volibear. We know we can get the Volibear. So let's just ban the Udyr here, for example, let the Hecarim come through and replicate the exact matchup we just had beforehand. Now, there are still some backline carries you can go for Gadget here. The Jinx is up and available. The Thresh is here. You don't have to commit to the Hecarim, specifically, thank you, because you just saw that they had no priority over there, and Nocturne has went through, and that's instantly picked up from the side of MOUZ. Nocturne has been a huge priority pick from the Prime League. They use it both in the mid lane, in the jungle, and in the top side of the map, so it's flex coming through. And from the side of Macko, they go for a rotation we have not seen them opt into so far, but it's going to be the Renekton, and it is going to be the Senna, which we saw early in the day did so much work with the locks for Darkrai.
Yeah, it really, really did. Now, seeing what MOUZ are going to look to pick up, because remember that Nocturne is a jungler and a top laner at the moment. You can also throw it mid if you want to. Most likely, as the Hecarim's locked in, followed by the Akali, is going to be a top lane Nocturne. And Leader's going to get his hands on to that Akali, a pretty strong pick for him. Curious to see what Sebekx is going to pick up here. If they're just going to go for something like a Tahm Kench, I'd pair up with
I think it's the
Volibear or the Lux again.
I think you actually go for the Volibear here. I know you want the early priority here, but they actually go for the locks. Okay, so Volibear, for me, it has to be a ban here. I think Volibear was like the key success part in that early game because they always had a jungler that could brawl. This time around, they've prioritized having that Lux lane instead. And on the other side of MOUZ, you said yourself, the Akali for potentially leader and the Nocturne, these are 2 flex picks. Akali can go top, Nocturne could go top and mid as well, so nothing is set in stone yet when we're talking about these conversations, but it is a jungler we need from the side of Macko, and you can already see now MOUZ, they're starting to ban away some of Cboi's jungler. They get rid of the Kai'Sas, but not yet the Volibear, and that is a pick I really want banned if you want to have success. We've seen how much that helped them towards earlier today, and now Macko, they're just getting rid of some of these S tier support. Thresh out of the table, Rel out of the table, Jinx still up and available as a backline AD carry, so potentially looking for that for MOUZ. And now MOUZ with that last jungle ban, I want to see the Volibear.
I feel like it has to be the Volibear. I feel like that is being way too strong. And then the question for me is kind of what's up on the what's like left. I don't want to see the Olaf, which we did see Cboi pull out earlier. Not sure if I particularly like that in what they've got so far. So you still got things like the Skirmishes. We have seen that kind of rear its head as of late as well. That's kind of one of these fallback junglers. But for now, with the Volibear taken away, they could just go for a mid laner and look to try and round it out from there, but I feel like...
Oh, damn it. Okay, yeah. So my one priority for the jungler here is that it's a jungler that needs to have early presence. We've already seen Sensao do somewhat well into the Hecarim, but it's also a champion that most junglers haven't picked up yet, although it is a jungler we saw flourish in the LPL during their playoffs and a bit from Dominant as well in the tournament here from EU Masters. And now they have left open that last counter pick here. Remember, the Renekton is a flex pick for Macko. They have played that loads of times in the mid lane for Sebekx, so you can still have some AP up in the top side if that's what you want to go for. You can feel confident enough in the Lux if you choose to build a carry. Last time though, they went for a more supportive style with this Lux and not too much of a carry, but with a loads of sustain. And you have two frontliners right now that are nicely sustainable. Now, leader, I don't think we're going to get this Silas here. It's probably going to be an AD carry instead. And
I feel like Kai'Sa, right? The Kai'Sa's open. You pet out for the Nautilus.
Oh, yeah,
dives in with the rest of the team. It's such a solid pick here for MOUZ. And yeah, they are just going to pick up that Kai'Sa. And that is a team that jumps forwards. While Maker's bot lane, they kind of want to push you backwards and don't want to deal with that. Now, potential pivot coming out here as they might look to send their Renekton mid and give that to Sebekx to deal with leader and pick something that can kind of handle the Nocturne in the top lane in this Urgot, as they are going to lock that in. And Macko now rounding out their comp. I think MOUZ is very clear. That is a team comp that once you hit those level 6 marks, you just run at them and you press your R key. What the hell are Macko doing? What does their comp do here?
So here's the thing, right? As you said yourself, Macko is a dark MOUZ, it's a dark part composition. You want to dive in for that backline, but when we take a look onto Macko, that backline you're diving into is essentially not always going to be the carries here. They're going to be the ones sustaining the front lane here. If you want to jump into the Urgot, you want to jump into the Renekton, you want to jump into the Olaf, they want that. They don't mind that at all. So right now from the side of Macko, it's get your solo laners ahead. Make sure that that backline threat you see in the Akali, you see in the Nocturne, that they're not able to play the game. And if you can do that, then you might have something to play for where you have an unkillable front line with sustainable laners in the background. At the same time though, if you snowball, the Kai'Sa from the side of MOUZ, like these both teams right now have very clear win conditions that they want to take over this game with.
Yeah, it's gonna be, you know, team fight dogpile post 6 and aggression from Macko. They've done a great job of getting it as well in these last 2 games versus Illumina. They have looked genuinely stellar. So I think if we do move on to this game, I want to see, well, when we get into this game, I really want to see proactive play from Cboi. When he played the Olaf earlier, it was a pretty rough game. They were playing versus UCAM, who were, you know, undefeated and were the number 1 seed coming out of Group C. And Cboi was pretty heavily tampered with, but now he's onto the Rift. They've got themselves this Senna and this Lux once again. And Macko, 1 win away from securing themselves a spot in the playoffs. 1 win away from giving us 2 PG Nat teams in the playoffs. And it looks like we have ourselves a bit of a death ball composition coming out. Or an early death ball from Macko.
And no one's really coming in to face check this one, but throughout the games we've seen so far, a lot of bot laners have been very happy to sweep out the bot side of the map to gain control of the bushes, specifically for the first 2 waves. If you have control of the 3rd bush, well, you can press the enemy, the carry away from the wave, and you can essentially secure that crash that you so desperately want to keep control and pressure in the game. But now, nothing's really going to come out of it. There's no deep wards from the side of MOUZ either, so they don't really lose anything from the side of Macko from doing this. And with an Olaf, they will be able to just start this clearing. Both junglers, or not both junglers, they are starting at separate parts of the map, so they'll probably just end up doing a full clear and then just trading up the map, unless we were going to be seeing a split map from Cboi, but I highly doubt it. And once again, Hecarim, we see it again. They've put leader up in that top side on the Akali, and they put Satorius in the mid lane with the Nocturne.
Yeah, going back to what we did see from leader in week 1 when he had this Akali and a pretty rough matchup. I'm actually not sure how Akali fares into the Urgot. I feel like this is still pretty rough. Not as oppressive as the Renekton, but I do feel like this is probably quite a rough lane.
Yeah, but it also enables Nocturne in a different way that he does not have to worry about trying to come in and chop this wave. But well, okay.
They got the hook, they got the Ignite. Durking's very, very low. Is able to buy himself a bit of space. He did have to burn that heal already, and Gadget's going to get a whole bunch of damage into Darkrai. Not the start
Do you get
that Macko needed as MOUZ get himself a very good start burning some summoner spells.
Yeah, that's heal out of the way. That's exhaust out of the way. Yes, there's no Ignite from Enjawve now, but they have all the pressure here, and it's just a question of time before They're going to be forcing any summoner spells with that hook as well. Mid lane, a lot of trading to be done. And MOUZ, like, we know them as a team who does not mind going in and skill checking, who does not mind and flipping it. And even though they have the quarters waiting for them if they can take this game, they don't mind risking it. This is the style that is MOUZ. They want to be aggressive.
I think MOUZ have shown us that they shine best when they're not playing what everyone else is playing, when they're playing their style. Just Satorius having a really good mid lane so far versus Sebekx on the Renekton. Very hard to deal with the fact that the Nocturne has such solid shove, and then can just get the fear off from the traders. Pridestalkr just farming away in his jungle. Pretty much on the same track as Cboi, although Cboi will be spotted out thanks to this ward by Gadget, and Gadget getting close to stealing that blue away.
Cboi waiting around top
getting
side
jumped
though.
Onto, goes for the flip back with the disdain, and now Leader chasing in for the kill. Sten flashes off, there's a lot of damage, and Leader just slaps in for the first blood.
Yeah, first blood comes in so fast. The ward was even down by StenBosse, but Pridestalkr so fast with the ghost, with the face right, with everything in there. Now trying to capitalize on the mid lane, but good spell shield out from Satorius, and I think they want to go up and kind of trade for this Scottle, but it should be gone as soon as they get up there.
Yeah, a little bit too slow on that one as Pridestalkr able to pick that up. Do get a bit of free time now. Darkrai has to be careful. This hook is going to connect and Gadget can chase in. Great Light Binding is going to connect the two members and lock them down. So Darkrai not going to get those void stacks, not only too much health, although Durking now potentially setting up onto Sebekx to help him out in this mid lane as he is going to jump forward. The slice pops it, gets the stun, and now they've got the lock up onto Satorius. Satorius is just going to take a whole bunch of damage from Durking, and it's an extra soul.
Bit of a roll.
Satorius able to survive the gank.
He does still have TP as well, and it pushes Darkrai in a really bad position.
Yeah, Darkrai just playing very far up in the lane when he really should just have to kind of give up the lane for the moment.
That's why I really didn't like that roam either. You can see the wave. It's just pushing towards Gadget. Yes, you fought Satorius back, but he just cancelled his recall and decided, you know what, I can actually just pick up this wave. So he didn't even have to burn his teleport. And now on the bot side, you lost so much of that pressure. And we talked about Macko. What they did well in all the games that they won was they were ahead in the early game. They were ahead of the curve. And so far right now, it is MOUZ who is taking control of that early game. They have a small gold lead right now, but it can easily turn to more when you know Darkrai right there. No flash down. And you have a Hecarim who can come down with a ghost that will soon be up. As soon as you hit those, you still have flash on Nautilus as well from Enjawve, so there's a lot of kill pressure towards this little Lux.
Yeah, and it was one of the things that we talked about with MOUZ earlier on in the day is MOUZ have had pretty lengthy game times, mainly because they're just behind. But one of the things we do know about MOUZ from all the years of following them, and they're a team that when they get ahead, they know how to play from ahead. Their whole play style is skill checking you and snowballing. And at the moment, they are trying to pick up the pace as Pridestalkr hasn't actually got a Rift Tail to take quite yet. Just hanging in the wings. The Cboi is going to pick up this early dragon. Another thing that was facilitating Macko's wins versus Illuminar was the fact that we're able to stack these dragons extremely early. And Cboi completely uncontested on this, but Sten getting flanked and Sten no flash. Going to go for a disdain, but he's going to get caught out. The shroud is big. The flip is coming down. Sten is just going to lose his life.
Call the Sirens. It is the weak side duty right there. They get the Drake, yeah. But they keep facilitating Leader instead. This is the cross map that we wanted out of Illumina instead. When they go for these early plays, you go for an attack on the other side of the map. And that is what MOUZ is doing. They don't mind giving up the first Drake. They don't mind Gadget losing out on this farm because they're getting Leader ahead.
And last time they swapped Leader into this top lane, they didn't really play around him. They just kind of left him on an island, and he ultimately just kind of wasn't ahead, but it was just super neutral, and that's not what you need from Leader on the Akali. You need him to start snowballing, and got himself the Seekers now finished up, got 2 kills, slight CS lead, but I would like to have a quick look at the gold just to see the individuals between him and Sten right now. As yeah, it's
cool.
It's a pretty nice start for 7 minutes in the game. He's got level 6 as well. Sten does flip him back. It's level 7 to Leader, who comes in for the Shuriken flip. Has popped the perfect execution already, so it doesn't really have the ability to find a kill onto Sten right now.
And here's what be worrisome as well. It's the fact that they don't struggle to get priority in the mid lane. Satorius, he's hit level 7 on the Nocturne. he's got that paranoia ready. So if you want to keep diving down on Sten, if you want to create a 3-man dive up there, it's going to be really hard for you to create a cross-map play because your bot lane is just not in a position where the Senna and Lux can actually deal with the Kai'Sa and Nautilus. So MOUZ right now have a lot of tools to make this work. If they get the Rift Herald, surely they'll be able to facilitate some gold into this Akali as well, who's going to be so scary towards the Mochko backline.
But for now, it does feel like the pace is taking a bit of a backseat for the moment, just to chill. No dragon for 3 minutes. The Sebekx and Satorius just having a bit of a scrap. Cboi not really able to do too much as the Rift Herald is spawning up. So maybe we see what Macko did in the previous games, go for these early swaps, try and get themselves a bit of control over the areas. The Rift Herald is up and the pings are going down from Pridestalkr, who's making his way, but Darkrai is going to get flashed onto, throws out the binding, but Gadget is being caught. Gadget will not be able to find the kills. The exhaust is there from Darkrai to keep him alive.
Actually stays alive, that leader.
Jumping in, he's feeling himself a little bit here. He's got the flip, he's got Cboi. Sebekx has made his way over to try and see if he can find the turnaround. Dominus has been popped, but the fear is big, and Sten has to flash away. He's burning low. The red buff will be enough to find another one. MOUZ are just flattening them here. As the ulti comes in, the crocodile goes down, and Pridestalkr finds a double kill.
Even Satorius is living. He's 3 kills up. No, 3 kills up in the top side from the TPs coming into the side to stay. No, they will just let that channel, but MOUZ making everything work for them in this early game. And Cboi, he comes out to the top lane to alleviate some of that pressure that he's felt. But Leader, he's not give a damn. We talk about skill checks. Sometimes it works out for him, sometimes it doesn't. But this is the time that it actually works, when it matters the most. And Leader on a champion like Akali, where he's actually being played for. Satorius, we talked about it. If he's moving up towards that top side, they can go for that as well. Now, cooldowns are down for MOUZ right now. They don't have the ultimates. So this should be going over to the side of Mochko.
Yeah, I think there's not really too much they can do, though. Pridestalkr is going to jump in forwards. He didn't pick it up, and it's going to be picked up. There's the railgun. Here is the shutdown already picked up. Leader's low HP. Sten slows him down slowly but surely. Able to get closer and closer. Cboi just about surviving. Sten, one more auto attack to kill Leader. He can't find it, and Leader survives. Sten unable to do anything. Meanwhile, Sebekx and Satorius going for a bit of a light scrap. Honestly, the railgun from Durking able to keep them alive. You see the shield, crucial for Cboi's survivability here.
Yeah, but at the same time, this fight is so unnecessary for MOUZ. Why are you going for this? You don't have those ultimates. They still have 2 ultimates from the side of Mochko. The Olaf ultimate was up, StenBosse's ultimate was up, and they're able to get out with their lives ahead. And as you said yourself there, that shield, that saved Cboi there.
And Cboi has now picked up the Rift Herald, so this could stem the bleeding from Macko. They're very, very close.
The problem for them right now is still praying that Drake will be spawning momentarily, and the pressure, as it is right now, still seems like it is going in the favor of MOUZ. They are 1k ahead as we're speaking right now, but no mythic items have been finished yet. But as soon as those starts coming through from them, you have to feel that it's going to be a minor setback, or a larger setback for Mochko actually. As they still need that solo lane as TB ready. They need that Stride Breaker. They need that Gorge Ringer. They need that Titanic Hydra onto Sten before they're feeling confident enough going into this one. And look at the level advantage for Leader in the top side. He's level 9. StenBosse is level 7. It's not fair.
It's really, really hard right now. Sten should just hit level 8, but he's still down a level. Gadget is going to eat a binding, the final spark. And the E gets popped by Darkrai. Now Darkrai has to be careful. Does have the flash, and Pridestalkr will find out the control wood. Cboi's coming in with Durking. Not entirely sure if they saw him, as the dragon is going to get picked up. MOUZ able to pick up the second one. No real way to contest, even with Gadget getting chunked out. Macko okay to give this dragon up, though. We will be looking at a mountain or an infernal soul in this game.
They could be baiting this one. Cboi's down there, but they spotted him on a ward, so they can definitely go for this.
Yeah, jumping straight onto the Lux. They are looking for Cboi. The charge is coming down. The flash has been used. Satorius unable to find the kill. Cboi burning low as he loses his life. Durking can almost find the kills, but the Triumph healing is big. The flash out by Durking. The hook! How did that connect by Enjawve? Locked underneath the tower, though. Enjawve has to use the stopwatch to reset the aggro for the moment. Darkrai can't find an answer out kill either. The minions are tanking the tower aggro, and MOUZ just get away with murder.
Everything about that play was perfect. They had the intel onto Cboi. Look at that ward that Gadget just placed. That is the one that spots him. So they knew the entire time after doing the Drake that Cboi was around. Right now, Macko, they're feeling confident. They're like, okay, guys, we'll bait them. We'll make sure that Cboi won't be spotted. And then we'll bait them into a fight they cannot contest, but they can, all right? There's still 4 people here. You're baiting 4 people into a 4v3. That's favorable for them. So when this happens, yes, it's low HP bard, but this is the beauty from Enjawve, curving that hook of Nautilus. And you think he's going to go down, you think there's a silver lining for Macko, but there's not. They're only met by a golden stopwatch. And Pridestalkr tanking it to get out, trying to get some gold in the mid lane, but it's nothing compared to what MOUZ has been getting so far. They are running away with the early game, and they need some stabilizing factors on Macko right now. You have your solo laner still, but you need items. You need to stop committing these plays. You need to make sure that nothing is being taken over by MOUZ, because right now they have that gold lead, but they don't have map pressure yet. They haven't dealt with any towers yet. The map state is still quite even, but it's a matter of time before MOUZ starts getting online.
Yeah, you got the Riftmaker finish now up onto leader. Sten still a ways away from that Titanic, to be honest. As there's the chem tank for Pridestalkr just off the back of this base, and a little bit problematic as no items have really been finished up. Well, no full items have been finished up by Macko at all. Sten just has to be so careful. This level disadvantage, the item disadvantage, putting him in a really rough position as lead actually hits level 11 there. So 2 points in the ulti, Sten down 2 levels. He can't even think about this.
And they're just starting up the recalls here. TP still not up for Sten or Sebekx, so if plays are committed right now by MOUZ, there's no way for the rest of them to join. So if they have these TP timers timed, funnily enough, well, they can start creating plays on the map. Satorius, TP up. Leader, TP up. If you just want to force a fight around bot lane, this is the time to do it. While there's no Rift Tail to get, while there's 2 minutes onto the next Drake, you can play with such a high-octane gameplay right now. If you are MOUZ, onto the TPs are coming up.
Sebekx is surrounded. He goes for the slice, he goes for the dice, and he goes for the flash. Sebekx has to pop the Dominus as well. So much burn. We'll have that Dominus in time for the Dragon, but no flash is going to be really painful for him.
And now that time I talked about has run out. TPs will be up and available once again from Macko, but objectives are starting to respawn here. Second Herald, a minute. Next Drake, less than 2 minutes. And Macko, they're really not in a position still where they're feeling confident. Yes, the Titanic Hydra has come through. Yes, there's a strike break on the Olaf. But this Renekton, crucially, still no Mythic. We'll probably have it on the next back. But even when you get those items, I still see MOUZ being favorable. I think you need those 2 items before you're really in a position to start trying to take control over those objectives.
No, you're absolutely right. As the Rift Tail spawns up instantly, Enjawve in the area. Pridestalkr not quite there yet, but Gadget is there. So he's going to start it up, and Pridestalkr is going to speed over. Macko can take solace in the fact that they were able to pick up that first Herald, but ultimately they are going to lose out on this one. And when all your lanes are really struggling for pressure, these Rift Tails become very effective against you, being able to crack open these towers with large waves crashing in. There's the Herald. Pridestalkr able to pick that one up, and wave's going to get held here by Darkrai, but there's something else thinking about jumping in. They do have Cboi in the area. Cboi's been spotted out by this ward, and Enjawve needs to be a little bit careful. They are able to wrestle control of this Tri-Brush.
But for how long are this going to stay quiet? Drake is up in less than 1 minute. Rift Herald is active. If you want to create plays on the side lane, Satorius has that ultimate, and he just reached level 11. So the range just got a little bit further to play around with now. Rift Herald has been dropped in the top side.
I think that might have been a misclick. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he was trying to sweep.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. We'll fire it.
This could be big.
It doesn't matter now, but they're going in for this
actually, it might be pulling them so they get the Dragon. Because Darkrai's gone to go deal with that. Not one of the teleport members. He will be able to stop this from charging, I believe.
He will. And at this point in time, as I said myself, like, I don't think that Macko was in a position where they really needed to fight for that Drake yet. I think he can wait for the next one. So just losing out on that Rift Herald is a bit of a tempo play that you've missed. But as you said yourself, it does net them the second Drake for themselves here. But we are going back to a bit of a stalemate. No outer turrets has been taken as of yet, and we are still 17 minutes into this game.
Some of these towers are a little bit low. Durking able to shove a wave in. No one's going to be able to catch that. The resets are coming out, although Durking didn't go for the reset, and Enjawve might be able to find him here. Not going to see him as the recall will finish up, and that should be the Kraken Slayer now finished up for Durking on the back of this base. There it is. And now the Mythics are there. They got the Moonstone on Darkrai. They got the Gore Drinker on Sebekx. Sebekx taking a fight versus Satorius, although Satorius actually now starting to struggle to land the damage into Sebekx.
And you can see on the boot stats come out from the side of Macko as well. You see 2 of those plated steel caps. So Satorius is going to start dealing less damage. He haven't finished his own mythic item either yet. But they are splitting the map up nicely here. If you take a look onto the minimap from MOUZ, you can see Leader just finished that bot side. The rest of Macko here not feeling confident in putting anyone against him as of yet. Sebekx is moving down towards him, but the damage has already been done. And in the top side, the turret is slowly getting chipped away. It's just a matter of time before MOUZ will be dealing with the rest of these outer turrets. And when they have been finished, you still have a nice 1-3-1 composition. You put Leader in a side lane. You put Satorius in a side lane. You wait for them to push out a side lane, and then you crash in the mid lane afterwards. So MOUZ are starting to get their composition active. This is the point of the game where they want to be in and where they want to take control. But then
looking for Gadget, goes in for the flash and the Desane. The teleports are coming in. He's popped himself the ultimate. Gadget just pings away. Sten's trying to get a little bit of damage in, but he can't get close. 4 members of MOUZ slide in, and I'm really not sure if Sten was ready for that play. A little bit of an interesting one. And there's no real play to kind of answer out with. They can shove in this mid lane, but that's going to be it. As the ulti does get popped from the Paranoia. Satorius is coming in. Pridestalkr looks to the charge onto a couple of members. The laser beam comes out from the final spark. Satorius low, but that is going to be 1 already picked up. And Durking will lose his life. It's a 2-for-1 in favor. But Pridestalkr, he is not content with this. And Cboi, nowhere to go. He's going to lose his life. Pridestalkr takes him down.
And this is just Macko. Yeah, they're just losing the grasp of the game. Yeah, you can tell. Like, they're so goddamn desperate in these situations. Like, I think you just wait for that next Drake. Like, get those 2 items. Feel a bit confident. Yes, they're always going to be ahead because of the early game they had for MOUZ. But at this point in the game, there's nothing you can do to stop that. Fact is, they had a better early game than you. You shouldn't be making mistakes in the mid game just to try and make up for that. It's over. You need to go for these plays you can create for yourself now. Set up these objectives nicely. Yes, you're losing the outer turrets. Yes, it's starting to become less controlled by you. But this is the situation you're in, and you have to make the best out of it. You can't fall for the pressure like that, because it's only going to make matters worse. And you got to give credit to MOUZ. For so long, we've been talking about how they've been inconsistent, how they've not been able to deliver to the name that is MOUZ, that is Leader himself. But this time around, they are really showing up, Hecarim.
Just very greedy by MOUZ to overstay that long. You know the Paranoia is there. You know the people are missing from top side. I mean, honestly, that kind of comes off the back of Sten going very aggressive onto Gadget for a kill that was pretty hard for him to find, even in a 1v2, let alone the fact that 2 other people teleported in and it was in a 1v4 by the end of that one. Sten will be able to shove in this wave, and I think he might be able to take this tower, to be honest. I don't think there's much Satorius is going to be able to do about this one. Sten does have backup this time, although the Fear is going to get used onto Sten, and tower will stand. So a bit of that kind of locked gold not being unlocked as the hook goes wide. The Paranoia comes in. Into the Shroud they go. The Fear does connect. As they do get a bit of a root off. Enjawve not going to find himself a hook, and the action is dissuaded.
They lose a lot of mid priority for this. You can just see Gadget. He'll start pushing that minion wave in, and that's just a minion wave that's going to be lost. And yes, it doesn't seem like much, but it's these small exchanges you get every time. The fact you do not get the turret, the fact that MOUZ gets to be in charge of the pace of the game the whole time. If you can't get a kill, well, make sure your enemy can't get XP from a minion wave. Make sure you keep that deficit between you and widen the gap as much as you can. Next Drake, less than 1 minute, and that will put MOUZ onto Soul Point. At this point in the game, they're sitting at a 5k gold lead. And it's just not a fight, once again, where you feel like Macko will come out on top, but at some point in the game, they gotta feel confident for it, and I think this might be the one where they'll try their luck.
Got the Sterix, you got the Gore Drinker finished up. As they're okay to give this up. Just as a kind of footnote, it's not great to go to Soul Point now, but they're okay to give this one up and then fight the next one, buy a little bit more time, get a little bit more gold on the on their carries. Now it's looking like looks like that's what they're going to do. Is Sen will answer out with a second turret for Macko, so they do get something off the back of this. Satorius is making his way over to try and hold this wave versus Sen. Sen should be able to shove this one in though. Although Enjawve is in the area.
And no flash on Sten.
Sebekx is just going to have to jump away. They do look in, and that is going to be all the CC necessary. StenBosse will lose his life.
It's starting to feel a bit redundant here, but MOUZ, they are just picking them up in a lane when they are overstayed here. Now, Sten, yeah, you get the tower. That's great, buddy. But then afterwards, get the hell out of there. Or else you will just be picked up by the global competition.
A great flash in front to get a bit of an interrupt. Enjawve loses his life. Here comes Durking looking for Pridestalkr. They're not going to find him with the final spark or the tether. A little bit over greedy by MOUZ, but they do at least get Darkrai's flash.
But the problem is that even if they get this, they just don't have the pressure on the map to push down the mid lane. Look at the side lane. Satorius just pushed out the top side. Leader just pushed out the bot side. And on top of that, he's stealing away all your camps. So all these gold, they're still getting it. There's only a limited amount of resources on the map. And right now, most of those resources are just belonging to MOUZ. And they're going to keep this up. They're not going to slow down. So for Macko right now, get those pink wards in the inventory. See how much of your own jungle quadrant you can keep up. Wait for MOUZ to make a mistake, because we have seen them dive too far forward many times. The late games from MOUZ, they tend to get messy. They tend to get drawn out. And that's the fact. That's what you're hoping for right now as Macko. It's these mistakes, continuous mistakes, that you want to get out for them.
For the moment, it is Macko who are making these continuous mistakes. They are the ones who are getting caught in side lanes when maybe they shouldn't be, getting caught overstaying and not respecting the fog of war. Durking is going to pick up the red buff, and back into the mid lane they go. It's just a matter of buying time. You've got 3 minutes until that Mountain Soul comes up, and at that point, you expect to see Macko fight for this.
Priority once again, like, you're just going to be lacking of it. The Drake is probably going to come down to, you need your solo laners to take care of the pressure, and then you just have to TP in for it. You just have to go for the Hail Mary play. But the problem is, even then, MOUZ doesn't care if you get one Drake. But them, if they can still go for the outer turrets, and I like that Observers are hovering the gold lead here, because it's really solidifying the gold lead that MOUZ has right now. Top side, 10k for leader, 2k ahead against StenBosse. In the mid lane, Sebekx actually in a position where he's ahead and almost hit level 16 on this Renekton. He's going to be that beefy front line. But in the jungle as well still, Pridestalkr, level 15 against Cboi's level 13. So even if it comes down to a smite fight, it's going to be really hard for Macko to execute on it and win the fight afterwards. The way I see it, you have to make some kind of miracle fight work. It has to come through the front line on Renekton. You need to shut them down when they dive in. Oh, it's just so hard because there's so many backline threats. There's the Nocturne, that's the Kai'Sa, that's the Akali, that's Hecarim. All of MOUZ composition just wants to dive in on you.
Spotted out by this ward as Pridestalkr's just clearing away some of this Baron vision. Macko don't really have any vision to work with. There's no blue wards left for them. They're all on cooldown. Sebekx does have teleport available. Although remember, the paranoia will stop him from being able to teleport. So Baron plus paranoia actually makes it very hard to approach that. Leader's doing his best just to hold him here. This mid lane turret has been low for a very long time for Macko. They just can't really fight it. They don't want to try and shove into this tower just for a bit of gold when the dragon is coming up so soon. They're the ones who are actually setting themselves up for a bit of success with a vision. I like this move from Macko. They are looking to now be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more responsive, more than just reactive.
But how long would you like it? Because they're sacrificing their side lanes for the fact they can come in and get these pink wards. Someone will have to answer Satorius. Someone will have to answer the bot lane for leader, and you'll have to go back and do that. And once you do that, MOUZ will just skadoodle into the Drake pit again, to the river, and gain control once again for this split of the game. But this time around, it just seems like Macko, they don't care about their side lanes. They want to lose out on all that CS. They know it's all about this Drake. If they don't make this fight work, it might just be the game from them. It might just be the last home for the PG Nationals. Or at least for Macko. Makers are still there.
Yeah, they still have Makers. Looks like they are just going to shove one more wave in. They've still got a little bit of time, and this will be the mid lane tier 1 picked up by Macko. Thanks to that fluff flowing water, a bit of movement speed coming in as they approach into the area and clear out the vision. Pridestalkr is on the flank, and there's the paranoia. They can't see the Lux already caught out. Everybody's caught out as well. The charge over the wall. This fight is messy as hell, but Leader is popping off. He's got himself a double kill. Gadget slays down another one, and Sebekx is forced to run as Gadget goes for the triple. Sebekx is trying to sustain, trying to survive, but he can't do it. It's a double kill for Gadget. Cboi, the only remaining member of Macko, they were just caught out instantly.
And there we just got to see what MOUZ composition does. They dive in on that backline. All of you, they had nothing to play around for. Do you know how scattered their calls must have been there? The paranoia comes through. 4 people dive onto you on 4 different fronts. Normally we just target, okay, front to back, do this guy. They can barely see the fight, all right? And there's so many Fed members jumping in onto them. MOUZ are playing so perfectly well around their own orchestrated chaos they are creating. They get this. They didn't get the soul yet. They will get it soon, but they get the Baron. Leader is doing Drake right now, unless they can stop it with that TP. Urgot is coming down, 500 HP.
Oh, fire! Bonus box so close, can't get it. It's so picked up for Leader. Leader flips over the wall, the shuriken flip, and that is going to be a cheeky escape from Leader.
And that is disaster. They had the blue orb onto it, but oh, it's just so tough for them. And we see the fight again. They're just drawn out by the paranoia Darkrai. His teammate doesn't even know where he is. He's just going down. Once they're grouped up together, that's just where they want them from MOUZ. And they're able to pick him up one after one, CCing them down with the fear. And yes, Sebekx, you were a Fed Renekton, but a Fed Renekton does nothing until the 4 other Fed members on the side of MOUZ that's just kiting him around with the CC.
And I mean, that showed us how decisive MOUZ were. The moment Darkrai separated from the team, paranoia, everybody slides in and just blows him up. It was really, really flawless execution from MOUZ there. And now the gold lead just growing to uncontrollable levels for MOUZ. Well, for Macko. And to be fair to them, they have played 4 games back to back. It has been a drawn out end of the day for them. Knocking a Luminar and knocking the Ultra Liga out. The Dark Region are trying to find some revenge for the Polish fans right now, but Macko, it's not over until the Nexus explodes. It's 3 towers to 3, but these towers are about to fall even quicker. It's 5 towers
and here's the thing.
3, just as 2 drop at the exact same time.
They're just back to doing MOUZ stuff again. You put the AD carry into the mid lane, you have Leader and Satorius in a side lane, and you just wait to collapse on the side lanes. You get a tower there, all right, great, we'll go for the next tier 2 turret. Oh, what's that? We already got the tier 2 turret in top lane, great. And then you just keep the pressure up, the same thing going here. Into the mid lane, crash down on the side lane, and just keep rotating the members around, and they're going desperate now.
Yeah, they're using the final spark. Gadget has been caught out. There's the paranoid to follow. Gadget's taking a lot of damage, but he is also firing out strong as everybody just comes over the wall. That's Leader into the fight. The railgun's been popped, and it's already a 2-for-1, a 3-for-1 in favor of MOUZ. Sebekx, like you said, he's fed, but he's not fed enough, and Leader's just going to slide in with the shuriken flip. Durkin can't even do the damage as Leader will look to close this one out. Sebekx able to survive for a very long time as Leader will use the stopwatch to survive. Pridestalkr tanking the tower for his mid laner. 22 kills to 4 right now, and MOUZ may just have done it. They may just have closed out this game and closed out Group C with a win.
This
the death timers are way too long. The Duck League are getting another team out of the groups and into the playoffs. MOUZ will take 2nd in Group C.
And this was by no means... give me a moment here. No means clean at all whatsoever from the side of... I'm so sorry, my camera was turned off.
He hasn't turned his camera off, so it's me full screen. Hello, everybody.
I'm
sort
back
yourself
here.
out, Gilbert.
Right,
get it together.
But let's sing the praises here for them, because MOUZ really in a position where they were able to finally display what people have hyped them up to be. It is this 1-3-1 style composition threat team that people expect when they hear the likes of Leader, the Akali, the Satorius Nocturne here, that we saw the Dark Regions have had so much priority on. And this is the game, if there's a game where you need to qualify for the quarterfinals, This is a perfect game where you're just shining on all fronts. The MOUZ way to do it. We see the B-roll coming in here, the highlights. Leader and the Akali actually being paid for this time around. We've seen him in the top side before, didn't work out. This time around, they have the winning recipes, and it just seemed like nothing was going right for Macko in this game.
No, it's a bit heartbreaking, to be honest, for Macko, because having such an amazing game versus a team who were one away. Like Illumina were one win away versus Macko from just taking second, and we wouldn't have had these two games. And that game was unbelievable. I think that was one of the best games we've had at this European Masters, with that incredibly close ending to the game. And then they come back in, and then they just play a cleaner version of Game 6 in game number 7 versus Illumina. And then this aggressive side we've seen from them just comes in, and it just doesn't seem to be here versus MOUZ. And MOUZ play what Macko did 2 games in a row versus Illumina, and they just give them a taste of their own medicine. It was just an absolutely stellar game from MOUZ. And this is the MOUZ that we'd been kind of waiting for the entirety of this European Masters. The question of being was, where was the aggressive MOUZ? Where was the skill-checking MOUZ? Well, here it was. And they got them into playoffs as just an honestly incredible game. 17,000 damage from Leader.
It's just crazy. That's the goal difference right there. But you can look at it. It's just climbing every goddamn time. Like, it's just never really falling down into a position where Macko was able to go back. And let's remember, Macko started out the day by beating MOUZ, making this day so interesting. MOUZ taking a game off Illumina that put us into this 3 tiebreaker situation. And it's just an insane day we've had ahead of ourselves. Like, the scores right here does not display how close this was.
They don't represent how good of a day we've had. We can see now over in Group A, Big and Makers have made it out. Misfits, Premier, and Sup Up have made it out of Group B. Group C was UCAM. They had an easy day. They went 6-0. They worked out. MOUZ had to fight tooth and nail. And when they lost the game at the beginning of the day, I thought it was doomed for them. So for them to make it out, really, really big stuff. That means we have 2 Dark representatives, 1 Spanish representative, 1 LFL representative, 1 Balkan representative, 1 PG Nats representative so far here in the European Masters. But tomorrow it is Group D, and that will be deciding who is coming out of that group. And, you know, that's the one that everyone's touted as the group of death. I genuinely thought Group C was probably I hate to say it, but probably the least interesting group, and it turned out to be the most interesting group so far. So they proved me wrong. I hope we have the schedules so we can go over what we got coming up tomorrow, because tomorrow is genuinely going to be a doozy. We have the most hyped up team in Karmine Corp starting off the day versus Cream Real Betis, BTXL versus Schalke, Karmine Corp versus Schalke, BTXL versus Cream Real, XL versus Karmine Corp, Schalke versus Cream Real. I normally ask what game you're excited for, but I'm going to just tell you what game I'm excited for. XL versus Schalke. The expectations for a fair few of the NLC guys was, this is a very strong XL roster. This is probably one of the strongest NLC rosters we've seen. And I thought they were going to take first or second in this group. Then Schalke came in and absolutely wiped them. So I'm curious to see whether or not XL are going to come out, you know, looking for revenge, looking for blood, because XL have only found 1 win so far. Karmine definitely looking like the strongest team in this group, but this is a hella stacked day.
You just don't want to miss this day. Like, you look at that schedule and you're like, is this playoffs? What's going on? Like, why is this the teams that are fighting? It's going to be insanely stacked tomorrow. Tune in again. You definitely do not want to miss that. It's going to be one of the best days. Perhaps dare I even say even better than today. And that's that's hard to top, by the way.
It's a hard day to top, but tomorrow is going to be incredibly stacked. You know, part of me is jealous, but I don't get to cast the games tomorrow. But part of me is also happy because I can sit in bed and watch all the games and potentially cry if things go really bad. Guys, thank you for sticking with us. It's been an absolutely incredible day here at the European Masters. There's still 1 day left of Group D. 1 day left, and that is Group D. We'll be starting up tomorrow with those games starting at 3:30 UK time, 4:30 European time. Make sure you tune and see it. It's going to be an absolute corker of a day. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm going to go rest my voice, have some food, and have a nap. See you tomorrow.